today. She has the incredible quality of, and you have 3 boys, is that right?
I do.
Four, really.
Managing, of managing chaos and doing it very cool, calm, and collected. You're very good at that.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's a skill, and you're good at it. Keith Smith and Emily Funk is the newly minted realtor.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I
We're
am.
gonna kick off with that.
Congratulations to her. Jason Taylor will join us in about 10 minutes on the program. We're excited for JT to be on the show. Give the program a like and share anywhere you're watching. We're live on every social media platform possible. Keith, before we get started, how you feeling today?
My daughter from Seattle just FaceTimed me.
Yeah?
I had to kill her. Yeah, I'm excited to introduce Emily as a newly minted real estate agent, realtor, and it's bittersweet for me because that kind of means you're moving out of take care of Keith role.
Somehow I don't think I will ever be totally moved out of that role.
Well,
We saw it this morning. Yeah. We saw it this morning.
it was in full bloom this morning,
Yeah.
right to the show.
She did a tremendous job of alleviating stress and keeping everything on the up and up.
Right, and
Today.
even handed me my ibuprofen and said, "Take this before the show."
I mean, she's amazing.
And she took over your role too. She goes, "Hit the head, Smith." I went, "Okay," and
She's amazing.
No exaggeration at this table.
No, we can follow you around if you need us to. We're happy to do this.
with the camera.
Yeah. Judah Whitcower, we can rock and roll when you're ready, sir. Guys, good Monday afternoon. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love Seville show. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are live in Charlottesville, across Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, right here on the I Love Seville network. And we're presented by Yes Realty Partners. Find them online, yesrealtypartners.com. Just a fantastic group of people at Yes Realty Partners. Judah Whitcower is our director. Already questions, comments, and engagement are coming in. Judah, if you could go to the 3-shot today, and let's welcome Keith Smith and Emily Funk to the program. My friends, good morning. How is everyone doing?
If I was doing any better, I'd be Emily.
She's a newly minted realtor.
I am.
Jump in, Emily. Introduce yourself. Tell us about what it feels like to be a newly minted real estate agent in this market.
So far, not a lot of different than it did before. It feels like there might be a little bit extra effort required to launch, just because the market is a little bit slower than it's been. But I'm also excited about the opportunity and the possibilities.
And you bring some. Let's celebrate you a little bit here, right? So not
She's
only
awesome.
are you a newly minted real estate agent, but you bring a skill set to the table, particularly on the listing side, that maybe not every real estate agent can do. On my end of it, I carry my Class A general contractor's license with me that's laminated that I will never lose for whatever reason. Since I had 1987, I will never let that go away. But you've got a little extra set of skills that you bring to the table. Why don't you talk about that for a minute?
Sure. So before I got into real estate, I was staging. I started a staging business, got certified to help both people with vacant listings and people who are staying in their homes while they're listing. It's called an occupied listing, and helping people navigate where to start and how to present their homes in the best possible light to sell.
So we're going to get into a little bit later in the show. NAR puts out, National Association of Realtors puts out this report annually, and it's called the Remodeling Impact Report, right? Mm-hmm. So what it does, it talks about return on investment, what items that you should work on your home that you can get the best return. And we're going to actually compare it to some 2019 numbers, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, this is a seller's market right now. Mm-hmm. Is there value to having staging in a seller's market? And if so, why?
Absolutely. Every home is a dream home for someone, and presenting a property in the best possible light means that you're going to help people create an emotional connection to that space that may help overcome things that could come up in a home inspection, or if there's a difference in appraisal amounts. If people have an emotional connection, they're more likely to stick through a transaction and see it to the end than if maybe this is just all about the numbers.
Well, we talk about this all the time. It's the 7-second rule. People make their decision. And I showed a bunch of properties this weekend. Thank God I had more than 15 minutes. We'll leave that one lie for the moment. But the ones that were professionally staged, my client noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And not only did my client notice it, they stayed in the home longer. And there's like a percentage normally that you get, like, don't you receive certain amount of money more if you professionally stage your home?
Well, the return on investment,
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank
is definitely, it can be worth it. And professionally staging a home doesn't necessarily mean clearing out all of your things if you're planning to stay in and having all new things come in. It just means maybe some thoughtful editing, some suggestions about paint colors, places where you can spend your money to get the greatest impact so that people come in and feel like this is a move-in ready house.
Decluttering, depersonalization,
Thoughtful editing.
thoughtful
editing. I love that.
So how do you have that conversation with somebody? How do you have that conversation?
Utilizing words like thoughtful editing right there instead of get your junk out of the house.
Right.
It's basically what you just said. She managed perception. That's
Yes.
what you did.
Yeah, so
I'm writing big words down.
people have an emotional connection to their homes. I mean, it's a natural thing. And helping them to start to shift the mindset away from this is my home to this is an asset that I am trying to market is what a stager can do. And helping people to understand that personal choices that they've made in their home are great for them, but might not necessarily appeal to the market at large, and that's what we're trying to do.
How about, I'd love to take a step back here and highlight launching your business in arguably one of the toughest real estate markets we've seen in the last 10 years. I mean, I'd say 2022 is the toughest real estate market we've seen in a decade. I mean, give us the mindset and like the hustle and the entrepreneur spirit that goes into doing that. What was going through your mind? What's the courage and the spirit like and needed for that?
It's feeling the confidence and the support of the people around me to know that I can do this and be successful at it. It may take some time to get there, but it felt like the natural progression after being in real estate for 5 years and with the staging background that I have something that I can offer, especially to sellers, to help them move forward in their journeys.
Absolutely.
So the chemistry is working, because literally that was the question I was going to ask next. What made the decision? So, and there was a family discussion, and this is a big decision to move forward. But to go to the conversation about challenging markets, each market has its own little challenge, and we're going to talk a little bit later about the lack of inventory and focus mostly on Lake Monticello, because we're going to go do it. But I actually ran an 11-year quarter-over-quarter spreadsheet. But this last quarter, 2022, we had 66 units sold. 10 years ago, that number was 7. So that was a challenging market, right? So it somewhere changed around 5 years ago in 2017. It switched from this buyer's market to a seller's market, because in 2017, again, the same quarter, we had 52 units for sale, which is pretty close to the 66, but there was 95 days on market was the average versus 20, right? And I always follow days on market as the change, and my numbers, when we start getting to close to 90%, that's when you're going to start seeing this change happen a little bit.
Have you seen, and take the last 10 years, and good morning, John Blair, good morning, Lee Elberson, good morning, Bill McChesney, Hello, Crozet. Hello, Carrie Griggs. Welcome to the program. Hello, folks in Lynchburg and Arlington and Waynesboro. Welcome to the program. Have you guys seen, you guys are the experts, a more tight inventory market than we are right now? Have you seen a market in the last 10 years that was more skewed to one side, like the sellers, than we have right now?
So it was flipped. So 10 years ago, it was completely the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Right. The pendulum was hard pegged to the opposite side.
How about to the seller side?
To the seller side, the only time that was that way was in a time of great confusion and great insanity, which was prior to the time of great unpleasantness. I didn't go that far back, but that's, you're looking 15 plus years back, which was prior to 2008 and 9 and 10 when it went in there. But no, and we talk about this all the time. It was the lack, and I had charts and I didn't bring them with me, but we're so many units down that even with the 5% and looking at this board to the left of us here that's in the studio, the TV, I think Mr. Miller's 100% right what he said off air. We're going to be looking at closer to 6, I think, before the year's end, on that end of it. But just
and he's talking on a 30-year fixed is what he's referring to there.
But the last time, so just focusing on Lake Monticello in the same quarter, last time we were at north of 5% was in 2011. There was 8 units sold at Lake Monticello. Wow. First quarter versus 66. That's 58 units different. They're also selling for $150,000 more.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is the, you guys, you've been doing this since '87. I've been doing this for 14 years, and I've never seen a seller's market of this magnitude. And then I'm trying to be straightforward here. With the rates rising as they're rising, it's not going to become a buyer's market anytime soon. Certainly with the under inventory that we have in this market.
Well, that 23 days on market, again, just to cherry pick Lake Monticello, first quarter, right, on that end of it, that needs to grow by another 30. That needs to be,
at least. That
needs to be we need to be crossing that 60 threshold for that whole mindset to start kicking in.
Jason Taylor, welcome. Come on set here. We got Jason Taylor.
How are you?
Good morning.
In the studio here.
Yes, I was just introduced.
Good to have you here. We'll welcome you here in a matter of moments. What are your thoughts on this topic here, Emily Funk? We're talking the seller's market. We're talking, Jason, we're talking rates rising. We're talking inventory being pitched. I mean, your thoughts on this?
We're talking about being new agents, newly minted agents, and what it means to be a newly minted agent in this time of the year.
What do you think, Emily?
I think we are not going to see any big changes for a while.
I agree.
It's still going to be kind of slow, but we're definitely looking forward to the point where things start to shift and become a little more balanced for everyone's sake.
Yeah. Jason Taylor, and your thoughts on that question. Introduce yourself first and your thoughts on this market as an agent. Danny O'Day, hello, welcome to the show. And kind of gaining traction in a very competitive time to do business.
Yeah, I'm Jason Taylor with Yes Realty Partners. Of course, I can say right now, at least on the buyer side, my experience, it feels like the Wild West. Everybody has cash and everybody wants to waive everything. And that's how you get your house. So at least I feel like that compels me enough to know once this inventory really starts to pick up, it's going to be a fantastic time. Yeah. Well, at least this is how I feel. Now, what do you think, Keith?
Well, I think you're awesome. So that I'm starting off.
Optimistic.
I'm starting from there. But now we've talked about this internally in our office meetings. Mm-hmm. Now's the time to start honing your skills to where this thing is going to change a little bit. But I know for firsthand, you're trying to win a couple of contracts. You're doing multiple offers. Talk a little bit about the psychology and how you're educating your buyer to kind of stay in the game.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'm honest about what it looks like. I think the last 4 offers that I've put in, all of them have come in with at least 11 to 13. I've had Offers just sent in, not to mention everything. I had like 40,000 over asking price on the last two. So it's like nuts. I have contacts in Alexandria. They lost the deal 85,000 over. So it's when I say that it's brutal. And the way that I'm expressing that to my clients is just keep riding along with me. I understand that like you may not get everything that you do want, but as long as you're here to ride with me, I'm gonna make sure I can do everything I can to put you in position to win, and that's limited, granted. But I also do encourage my clients to whatever they want, make sure you go after.
Do you find them giving up?
No, I haven't actually.
That's interesting.
I've been, and I think a big part of it is the energy that Yes Realty Partner brings and what Jason delivers. We're positive, polished professionals that want to get you to where you want to go. And I think that just that in itself, that energy that we cultivate with our clients, relationship management, it's like, hey, I'm not just a person doing a job for you. We're in this journey together. We're in the seat together. This is a ride. This is an experience. Every time you hurt, I hurt. At least that's been my personal experience. But I really build those relationships with those clients.
Stephanie Wells Rhodes giving Emily some props. She's very excited to see you on the show. Stephanie, we very much enjoy your support of the Interstate Service Company family. Love that company. I think I counted this morning, Stephanie, almost 10 years of working alongside you. You're A+, and she very much loves you.
It's nice to see you, Steph.
Bill McChesney is giving us a listing to check out, which I will mention here shortly on air. Keith Smith, my friend, what was on the brain there?
So, since Stephanie chimed in, and Interstate Service Company, that's a great segue into what's going on the remodeling impact report, because they are awesome at remodeling and helping folks achieve their goals. But it's very interesting. The number one ROI, return on investment, this year was hardwood refinishing of floors of 147%, and it's something like an average of 3,000, and you return 5,000, and that is really interesting because. I want to see how you two guys feel about that, because back in 2019, it was a complete kitchen renovation. So this was prior to the COVID starting. That's the reason I picked it and do that. And that's a big difference. That went, and by the way, kitchen upgrade dropped down to only a 67% return on investment. Any thoughts, guys, particularly as a stager?
Yeah, so my feeling about the hardwood floors is that if you put in the effort as a seller to get that done, you're removing hassle factor for the buyer. Because who wants to buy a house and then come in and refinish all the floors, especially if you're on a tight timeline? That's one thing that would just get pushed aside. So refinishing hardwood floors, especially if there's evident damage, is a great selling point, because nobody's going to have to worry about it for several years. Nobody's going to have to do it for themselves, and it presents well. So people are going to be compelled to offer more money for that move-in ready finish.
So I have a whole different theory on that. What do you think?
Well, honestly, Emily, you spelled it out so well. I just want to hear what you have to say. I feel like I'd be wasting space. How well you knocked that out the park. Go ahead, girl, give me some.
So when somebody walks into the house, their five senses kick in. What does a brand new sanded and finished hardwood floor smell like?
Polyurethane.
Oh my goodness. It was solid.
Okay, Emily.
That was amazing.
Hello, Neil Williamson. Welcome to the show.
No, the new car smell.
Yes.
Right? The house smells new. The house smells fresh. It's similar to painting, but it's interesting. Painting's not even on the top 10 list.
Well, here's a question. We talk about, and Stephanie with Interstate Service Company, this is a good question for you. All the folks in the space. We talk about such a limited inventory in the Central Virginia market. And when there's limited inventory, that is incredible positive momentum for people who are in the remodeling space, that do home services. And Interstate Service Company is one of the best of the best. So there's a waiting list for home services here.
Sure.
Yep.
There's a waiting list for remodeling, and so many people are asking for this because they can't upgrade or downgrade from a home purchase or home selling standpoint. So how many folks are actually able to do the necessary improvements to a house in a timely fashion prior to listing the home on the market when it's so difficult to find subs to do the work? And then the second part of the question is, with such a little inventory on the market, do we actually have to do a lot of upkeeps to the houses we're going to sell, knowing that they're going to sell pretty much regardless because the inventory is so tight? So two-part question there. What do you guys think? Emily, you want to hit that one first?
Sure. So first of all, the sub question is a great one. And if you are trying to manage that on your own, it can be very frustrating and feel like kind of an endless black hole. But if you're working with a trusted real estate professional who has a list of vendors that they trust, it might be a little easier to find someone to help out with those small projects that need to get done in a timely fashion to get your house listed. As far as the upgrades, I would say, unless there is something big that you know needs attention, a leak in the roof, the HVAC system is failing, things like that, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to spruce up, and it can't hurt to present your house in the best possible light. Excuse me. So spending a little bit of money will garner even bigger returns on investment because people are willing to pay for move-in ready.
What do you think, Jason?
No, I agree. And I think that the documentation that we have surrounding that from the NAR, that top point that he made about the recouping 100 up to 147% of the money that you put in, it obviously breaks down per item, but you're getting your money back for the work that you put in. It's an investment into your home. It's an investment into yourself. And why wouldn't you? Another factor, too, you said something earlier, just to slightly pivot, the joy factor. Mm-hmm. You said that painting. I think interior painting is the top. Is that the top?
That is the top. So that's really interesting. This is the first time NAR has put this in, National Association of Realtors has put this into the report. It's the joy factor, right? What brings you the most joy? And number one is painting. Like 10 out of 10. And, hardwood finishing is also 10 and so forth and so on. But I want to repivot on this because I really want to continue to give a shout out to ISC. All right. So on Friday, we talked about a report that came out from Realtor.com. And what they did was the Pew Research, and they went ahead and interviewed did a poll with 3,000 nationwide potential sellers. And 8 out of 10 are going to put their homes on the second half of this year, primarily because they want to do some work to it. So I think you're going to see an uptick of folks that are either refinishing their floor, and reason why there's some runway on it is to get ISC in there to go ahead and do it and get on their calendars. One of the great things, and just thank you for chiming in on that, one of the great things about them, they have a lot of in-house folks that they use, which makes life a lot simpler as far as not having to hire out subcontractors. So I honestly think you're going to see, from that perspective, a little bit more of an uptick on inventory in the second part of the year.
You see an uptick in inventory in the second part of this year in Central Virginia?
I think we do, but like we used the scale on Friday, it's just not going to tip it. It's not going to make this, I don't have it in front of me, it's not going to make this 90 days on market happen anytime soon. It might make it to 50 or 60. It's going to help it, but the scale is so, and as interest rates climb up, things will kind of balance a little bit.
Do you, Emily, see an uptick in inventory at the end of this year? Do you agree with that?
I think the dam's got to break at some point, and so I'm hopeful that change is coming.
Okay. Jason?
We're working hard to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
So hey, if it's up, if I have it my way, absolutely. And yes, Realty Partners will contribute to that solution by working with some stellar clients. So yeah, I would say just off the strength of how bad we want it, and I think that the way that the market will fall, interest rates going up.
So let's define an uptick in inventory, right? So an uptick of inventory will be anemic uptick in inventory, but there will be an inventory uptick. What it'll be a decrease of is in the buyers in the buyer pool. And that'll make the inventory look larger than what it actually is. That's my prediction.
Balance it out.
So we're
you-
talking about a trickle, not a flood.
And you see a decrease in the buyer pool because the homes are going to become less affordable with rates rising. That's what you're alluding to.
It's already there. It's already
Yeah.
happening.
That's what he's alluding
It's
to.
carving off, rightly or wrongly, it's carving off the first-time home buyer that doesn't have that deep pocket of cash, right? That this first-time home buyer you're working with that can't say, okay, I'm going to put 50% cash down because I don't have it, right? And that person isn't going to win. And so that's where the balance, I think, is going to happen. That pool is going to drop pretty drastically.
Comments coming in. Let's get to Danny O'Day. DOD, we love when you watch and contribute to the show. Danny O'Day says this: I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on this. According to a new Pew Research report, over 46% of American renters spend over 30% of their income on rent, with 25% American renters spending over 50% of their income on rent. In a housing market that increasingly prioritizes cash on hand for buyers, how feasible is it for the average blue-collar or middle-income worker to break out of the rent cycle into true home ownership in a desirable community? It seems more and more that for young people trying to build a life in a community they want to be a part of, they have either the option of owning a home far, far away from the community itself, or to rent at a rate that far outpaces their income. According to the Federal Reserve Bank, Americans can expect the average rent cost to increase 10% throughout 2022. Seems like a choice with no good answers there. I mean, he's right. I mean, you can buy a house and have a significant commute to where you want to work or hang out or where your friends are, or you can rent in that community and then pay an astronomical amount of rent that's far going to outpace a mortgage payment for a home that you would otherwise buy. Jason, you want to start with this one? I mean, that's a tough scenario.
Yeah, I mean,
You empathize, right?
big time, like big time. And then I'll get a little slangy here. I guess you just got ball out till you fall out, man. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, unfortunately, the way the market is, you kind of have to shift your attitude for what that is. So personally, I came up, I didn't have any handouts, and nobody gave me, I never had any big lump sums of cash. I got into corporate, did a 13% into the 401k, and I was able to get somewhere, right? Over a span of years, and that was just some self-education that it took and stuff like that. But if it wasn't for those kind of movements that I made when I was like 21, 22, when I first got into the corporate cycle, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, in a position to say, hey, I'm a homeowner, I went through those different things. So it is a scenario in which it feels impossible, and I can say definitely 10 years ago, it was a lot more possible to get the wheels rolling as to where your finances would need to be. But I think that I can't speak for everyone's situation, but if you have a family, you got whatever going on, man, it's rough. It's really, really rough. And I think that's the best thing we can do as your realtor is empathize, understand, and then just come with the best solutions that we can. But ultimately, that's what I would subscribe. If you know what you want, you'll figure out a way to get it. And that's really the best way I can express that. I can see the clear challenges, though, because I'm looking at some things within Charlottesville myself, and the rent is outrageous. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm not paying a rent higher than my mortgage. You can believe that. So downsizing, whatever needs to happen will happen, but realistically,
Or partner up, or
partner up,
or roommate up,
Yeah,
so you can
yeah.
split your costs down. I mean, Jerry's a perfect example on how that actually can work from a short term. He's a success story of that, on how he started into it. But look, it feels like we're beating this up to death, because we are. This is simply a lack of inventory. This is simply the lack of projects not getting approved. Housing for all helps all, right? But right now, we did an analysis. Lake Monticello, I took two houses side by side, similar homes. What I was paying, what you would pay for rent versus what you would pay for rent, even at 5%, was equal. Now, trying to find that home is where you need a trusted advisor.
So Emily, you jumped in on this topic, and here's a natural follow-up question from Kevin Higgins. who we've dubbed the king of Greenwood. Kevin Higgins, we love you. He says, when is rent a better option than buying?
So my family is renting right now, which is the best option for us at this time, because we know that once our kids are out of the house in just a couple of years, our wants and our needs are going to change. So it's very much a personal question and answer based on your needs at the time. And for people who can wait right now and not dip a toe into the buyer's market, it might make sense.
Yeah, and it also could be like our daughter out in Seattle. They're there for only a couple of years, and they're moving out someplace else where he's going to get his permanent doctorship. I don't know what that's called. Whatever that's called. Whatever doctors do when they're done with their residency. I don't know. All I know is he's a doctor, and I'm good with that. Really, really good with that. And I love Harry. He's an accountant. So I got to get that other one in there. We love both our son-in-laws.
I think you're talking about a fellowship, which is after a residency.
No, I think he's going right into private practice after that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Or working for somebody. I don't know. But
go ahead.
But
we love them. We love your son-in-laws.
We love both my son-in-laws into that end of it. But they were it was their situation, right? They were to do that. Now, I will tell you, my youngest daughter was like, oh, we should have bought the moment we got there, because they would have netted a considerable amount of money in 3 years or 4 years, and you also could have went the other way, honey, too. So, but for them, it was a personal choice to rent, and they move out. But they're paying a 2-bedroom apartment underneath a house, my God, like $3,000 a month.
Whoa.
It's insane.
It's a basement apartment.
It's a basement apartment
Yeah.
that, you got little windows you got to look at in the in the bedroom.
But it's in a desirable area of Seattle.
It is in a desirable. That's it.
They're paying for location.
They're paying for location. They're paying for proximity to where he goes to work. Yvonne walks. She's a teacher. Walks to work. So there was this whole lifestyle change decision that they make. But to Kevin's point, the best thing to hedge against inflation, even at 5%, is to buy. Right? It's to buy, because you're now locked in for 30 years at that particular point in time.
Yona, the scale will start to balance more equally to give buyers a more realistic chance to win offers. And we're in a complete agreement with that. The question is when. And you guys are the experts. I just read a lot of experts, and I don't see that balancing of the scale happening in 2022. And I don't know if that balancing of that scale is going to happen even in 2023.
6% might impact that.
So the 6% may impact that, but what's going to counter the 6% is the no inventory. Especially locally and around here. We are so under inventoried around here, and then the folks we're working alongside aren't even thinking about new construction that are in the new construction space. I mean, like the builders we're working with are like, we're not even, no.
Most custom builders are booked out to end of 2023 now.
Yeah, like having meetings saying like, we will deliver your product to you if you work with us in 2024. That conversation is literally happening now.
But I had those same conversations in 2003, 2004, and 2005. Those conversations were, well, when I'm 30 days out from finishing it, I'll give you a call, right?
Yeah.
So this, from a builder's perspective, we've kind of been there before on this end of it. Lack of inventory, material inventory, lack of labor. So I've been down this road before. But the interesting thing about the 6%, and just toss it out for everybody to talk about, I had a conversation with a buyer client. One had a master's degree, one had a PhD. These are really smart people. They did not know that they could buy that 5% down. They had no clue. Right, so we might want to talk a little bit about that. We'll definitely talk about that on Wednesday with Scott Mortgage Morris. That you have an opportunity to buy, assuming you're going to be in your home for an extended period of time. You might want to look at that. There's a way to buy that interest rate down, but you got to have the cash to do it.
Do you see the inventory upticking in 2023, 2024?
Let's ask the young folks.
Oh, Look, I'm not breaking trend now. Hell yeah! No, I'm playing. Like, I think the inventory will get a lot
Your split's
better.
not going to change, brother.
It's not changing anywhere. Hey guys, it's gonna go up and only get better from here. So
it
rock
just
with
went
it,
up.
All right, never mind. Dang. All right, no, but seriously, I do think I'm optimistic, and I feel like things will fall accordingly. The interest rates, like Keith said, I think will help that, and I do foresee the inventory going up. But like I said, I see a lot of stats, but I don't necessarily believe them all. And these are forecasts, and I mean, my weatherman can't even figure out what the weather is on Saturday. So you gonna tell me what
that's
it looks
because you
like
live in
in 2
Virginia.
years? Obviously, maybe if we were in,
Seattle.
Northern Virginia, it'd be
Seattle, it
different.
rains
I don't
every
know.
day. Look, I mean, I want to talk a little bit about, we got 16 homes on the market at Lake Monticello right now. 2 months ago, that was 9. It's anemic, right? I love the smile. I love that.
I mean, I'm just a realist. I'm trying to be positive. I am trying to be. It's a 4,400 unit community, and we have 16 homes on the market.
And
You live at the lake. Lakers.
Yes. And that number doesn't look too great right now. I'll be honest, but I'm gonna stick to the script.
I like it. I like sticking it to the script.
What's coming next?
I like
It's
it.
gonna get better.
I like
you know
it.
What? This time next year it's gonna be 45. 45. It's rolling.
45 homes in a
Yep.
4,400 unit community would be 1%.
And we're gonna take
And
that
right
1%
now
and
we're
stretch it.
at a third of a percentage point.
Sounds not too lovely when you put it like that.
so
We're
I
just gonna stick with 16.
16.
know I'm looking at an 11-year average, and I've lived there long enough, and Jerry hit the number right on. When you start hitting about 40 to 50 units,
A point of the neighborhood. 1 point.
That's usually been as long as I've been living there, which has been for 35 years.
About that.
It's usually, that's kind of the healthy number, not 15 or 16. Actually, the number's really 15 because one came off this morning as I was looking at my phone. But look, I want to change topics a little bit here and see if we can get everybody squirming a little bit.
Awesome.
Actually, I got 3 topics that I want to throw out on that end. But the first one is, okay, we're just talking about it. There's not a lot of houses. There's more buyers and all that stuff. How important is it to price the house right in today's market? What do you think? Think about it from a buyer's perspective, right? You're representing a certain buyer. How important is it to price the home right now?
And what does right pricing mean?
That's a great follow-up question. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. It's just,
I'm trying to be diplomatic about it.
no, speak from the heart, man.
Get your cash. Like I don't know what to say. Like I think that that's what I've noticed on the market. I think that everybody is pricing it so aggressively that you have no choice but to respond accordingly. Hence why we have everybody paying out the wazoo for a 2-bedroom home in the middle of Charlottesville, but it's like $738,000 or something, or $800,000.
So I'm going to change the
Too
question
much.
a different way. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm
'cause I was
going to
like-
be I'm going to be a buyer client right now, right? So we've got 16 homes on Lake Monticello right now. We know the first quarter, the average was 23 days on market. There are 16 homes. 8 of them are under 23 days on the market. The other half range between 34 and 156 days. The second half, why are they still on the market?
Probably overpriced.
Overpriced or they're not in great condition.
That could
Or
be
it's
the
a
case.
combination of the two.
Yeah.
Or that home inspection. Somebody's made it through a little bit, and then that home
No,
inspection.
these
Oh,
are
they haven't even been touched at all.
these haven't even gone
Flat
under
out.
contract.
Oh,
yet.
wow.
So pricing,
Oh,
even
wow.
in today's market, is important, right? Because these homes here, and we talk about this all the time, right? Market's 5 things: location. We know the location is right, price, and we have assuming features and conditions are right. Then it's overpriced. And I know from my buyer's perspective, they are so smart. They know this information long before I even tell it to them. And they said, well, A, why has this been on the market for 60 days? We talk about it, we look at it, and guess what we don't go see? We don't go see the house that's been on the market for 60 days.
Well, how about this? So we understand the potential collateral damage that can come with overpricing a home. He's outlined it well. How about the strategy of underpricing a home to generate a bidding war?
Geez, that was my second question.
Chad Wood, welcome to the program. So, he says this is undoubtedly a seller's market. Kevin Yancey, hello, welcome to the show. Neil, I promise we'll get to your show. Your comment here. Underpricing a home to generate a bidding war and to throw gas on demand,
So,
fuel on demand.
Emily, you're the listing agent. You talk about it from your perspective, and you're the buyer's agent. You talk about it from your perspective.
It's not a tactic I would employ. I, across the board, would price a property fairly regardless. There's going to be a bidding war. And if a property is priced fairly for what's being offered, you're still going to generate the interest. You're still going to wind up with multiple offers. But I think it's setting expectations for buyers to price it fairly.
Jason.
Well, my experience is it's been tough sledding. It's been very competitive. So if someone were to cut us a break and come down so we can go up, that would be lovely kind of deal. So I think it would be beneficial in today's market. But the way these bidding wars are going on overpriced properties, why would you shortchange your client, Emily? Make sure, you do your best duty to make sure your client gets, what they need for their future. And I will do the same as a buyer's agent and make sure my client understands what's going on. And obviously, they have to make their own decisions. But, we do CMAs and we evaluate everything.
Well, so thank you for saying that. So
Yes.
we do that, right? We do that. We do an analysis on what the market looks like at that given moment. So it's interesting question because it is a tactic that sellers can use, but also they could just be honestly doing an assessment of the market, and the market's at $1, and the market, because of the buyers, are bidding that up. Well, that's the new market, the new market number. So they're moving so rapidly, and at some point we may or may not talk about coming soon, but at some point we're going to talk about.
Coming soon is now on the feed. That
Yeah.
comment's come in.
Yeah.
And that's from Bill McChenzie, actually highlighting a listing. Chad Wood's got something that's on topic here. And folks, we got Lynchburg, Williamsburg, Newport News, Crozet, Martinsville, the folks from Danville. We've been highlighting Danville a lot on this network, and we get a lot of Danville watchers and viewers now, and Northern Virginia right now on the show. Chad Wood says this: how can homes be so overpriced? Do appraisals not matter anymore? And maybe they're not necessarily overpriced, maybe they're indicative of today's market, but the second part of the question about appraisals not mattering anymore is a good one.
May I interject?
Please.
It's just on this buyer's market. I think a big part of it is people are like either waiving appraisals or doing appraisal gap clauses. So they're like, I don't care what the appraisal comes back, I'm gonna cover the cash difference. So I think that in itself almost makes the appraisal irrelevant. A lot of people are just like, I don't care what comes back as, I'm gonna pay the cash, I have it.
So why is that important? That's it. That's
the
an
value of your
important
home.
statement
Yeah.
that you made.
Yeah.
Because why is that important when people start having the balloon conversation? Why is that important?
Because people have equity,
Yes.
massive equity in their
Yes.
homes.
They're not borrowing this new number, right? They're
it's
bringing cash to the
that.
table. So if
The proverbial, what hits the fan, they can exit with a pile of money.
and they're not being threatened by banks and all this kind of great stuff. So that's usually it.
Yeah.
Emily, any thoughts on that?
I mean, Jason covered it well. It's people are finding ways to work around to augment the lending system so that they can borrow the amount, and then they want the house badly enough, they're going to find a way to pay for it, whether the bank is paying for all of it or not.
So what I love about this show is the viewers and the listeners chiming in. I actually had a conversation with Woody Fincham, who's an appraiser, over the weekend that we're trying to work into a show to talk about things from an appraisal's perspective.
I sent Woody a listing for inspection last week. Love you, Woody Finchman.
Woody is unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're trying to work in a schedule and try to bring in our friends from Pearl to talk about a couple things that they're doing. But look, the reality of it generally has been, for the 30 some odd years I've been doing this, if you have a ready, willing, and able seller, a ready, willing, and able buyer, right? And the buyer has the amount of cash, 20% down, something like that. If that's it, that's pretty much the market. That's where the market is, right? And so what's happening here, and from a appraiser's perspective, and I want to ask Woody this question, how much lag time do you have here, right? Because this is a snapshot of time at that given moment. 30 days from now, it may be totally different, but that's how that process is supposed to go.
Comments coming in. This one from Daniel McDougall. Has it become a buyer's market in the upper price range? Has it become a buyer's market in the upper price range? I mentioned this the other day. Remember we were talking about this? $1 million is not the luxury market anymore.
It doesn't feel like it.
It
no.
doesn't feel like it. So Daniel McDougall is a mortgage lender watching the program. 90% of his business is done remotely, where he's not face-to-face with the people. Think about that. And he's asked, can we talk this topic? Is it softening or becoming a buyer's market in the upper price range? D-Mac, what do you characterize as the upper price range? Are we going to say $1 million and above, Daniel McDougall? Or are we going to say $2 million and up is the upper price range?
It depends on the jurisdiction, right? Certain numbers are, at Lake Monticello, something north of $500,000 or $600,000 is the higher market on that. So each jurisdiction is a little bit different. Western Albemarle has a different number to it, but there is, from my perspective, a softening in the upper level.
What do you guys think?
I think it depends on jurisdiction.
Yeah?
I think markets like Western Albemarle are still hot because everything is more expensive out there than it is in other areas. So it depends kind of answer.
He says 500,000 and up in our area.
Okay. Yeah. It's
I'd say 500K to 850K, 500K call it 500 to $1 million is still pretty damn hot.
those price points have multiple offers just the same as a $200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
500K to, this is bananas to say here. In 2022, the 500,000 to 1 million price range is at the upper tier of starter home and certainly the category of next step up house. Isn't that bananas?
Yeah.
That's bananas.
So the average list price of the 16 units at Lake Monticello as of last night, the average list price is $376,000. $376,000. 5 years ago, it was $193,000.
Do you have any other neighborhood?
No, I just did
That's
Lake
Lake Monticello?
I just did Lake Monticello.
I'd be
today.
curious to see Old Trail. I'd be curious to see Glenmore. I'd be curious to see Redfields, Lake Renovia, and Forest Lakes.
I made notes, my friend. I will work on it. I just crunched this. It takes a lot of back end research to do 11 years year over year on that end of it. But I just take that as a snapshot because of what Jerry said. It's the 4,300 lots. It's easy, homes, excuse me. It's really easy to go ahead and do it. And it's interesting. I also looked at the first 11 years. The only year that homes actually sold over list price was 2022. Every other year it was actually under. So in other words, what list versus sold, this was up about $7,000. 2020, it was down by $7,000. In other words, the homes sold for $7,000, which back in 2020, we had this thing of seller concessions, right? You don't see that any longer at this particular
Dr. Lindsay Neal giving Emily Funk some serious props right now.
Hi, Dr. Neal.
Emily Funk is adored in this community. I can see it here on social media. This question is a good one. Lake Monticello, for such a long period of time, was seen as that entry point for first-time home buyers. It is not anymore. What is the entry point neighborhood for first-time home buyers in Central Virginia?
That's a good one.
How about the Mets?
Is there
Yeah, I
an
was
entry
about to
point
say,
neighborhood for first-time home buyers in Central Virginia?
So we have to define what dollar
What is entry
amount.
point?
I mean, I would say a first-time home buyer, if it's getting much north of 3, is not going to be able to afford that.
Particularly at 5%.
Yeah.
So Lake Monticello right now, currently listed, the cheapest home is listed as $245,000. That's the cheapest home.
What's the price? The most affordable?
The most affordable is $245,000.
Okay, and what do we got there? We got 1,000 square feet. We got a rancher with 3 beds, 1.5 baths.
That's exactly right. 1,500 square foot rancher, no garage.
Yeah.
No garage on a third of an acre.
3 bed, 1.5.
That's it.
Yeah. And that price is, dude,
240.
if that house is in good shape, that house is under contract as we just said it right now.
Well, it's been on the market for 7 days, so I haven't looked into it backwards, which is kind of telling me that maybe it needs a little bit of work or something.
A little
like that.
7 days.
And the fact that those words literally came out of my mouth, that 7 days is a long time,
7 days in this market is almost scarlet lettered days on market.
I will say, when you said 7 days, I was like, I would not be surprised if they were reviewing offers at 12 today on the home. Like that's
Seriously.
how quick it's been.
Great call, Jason.
Yes.
2016 was 128 days.
That's nuts.
I just said 7 days. Wow, that's a long
7
time.
days is almost scarlet lettered, but to Jason's point, they could have said we'll give a week threshold of reviewing all offers and getting them in. So that's a decent point by JT right there, by Taylor. Jump in here, Jason. I see the wheels turning.
Well, no, I mean it's just that point. Everything is going so fast. Like when you said 20 days or however long is a scarlet alert, 7 days. Nah, things are going like 2-3 days. Open, and they will say, hey, you can view it. It is open for the weekend. Come see it on Saturday and Sunday. You get your offer in by 11 a.m. on Monday. And we'll have a decision to you by 12. I'm like, are y'all even thinking this through? What is this? So, it's such a quick-paced environment that if I see anything over 2 weeks, I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm asking a lot of questions anyway. But now I'm like, yo, is the home defective? Is there something wrong? Are there bodies underneath it? Why is it on the market for this long? It doesn't make any sense.
That was great. I love Jason. And dude, I bring this up every show with community. We have not seen the true impact yet of UVA admitting more students this fall than in the history of the university. More students this fall coming to the university than in the history of the school. More staff than the history of the school this fall. And folks, I know the background plan firsthand of what the data science school is going to do to this community, and the employers that are coming to the community to cherry pick the talent out of what is going to be the top data science school maybe in the country. And that's opening on Ivy Road, and it's opening soon, and that's going to cannibalize even more inventory in this market. I know firsthand what is coming with this thing, and it's going to be a lot of firms setting up satellite offices and second headquarters just to get the talent that graduates from here at the cheap, and saying you don't have to move and we'll hire you. We're talking thousands of jobs
and
here.
these jobs are starting at what kind of a salary?
6 figures plus, and
There
it's
you go.
people from outside the community moving
Exactly
here.
right.
To start.
So now our first-time home buyer is competing against two pools, right? They're competing against Keith and Yona, right, who just sold our house and cashed out and want to be around. We haven't sold our house yet.
I was about to say, if you don't,
I think now is the time for you guys to sell your house. I know you don't want to hear this, but now is the time.
Well, Friday I lost that battle, so
Now
anyway.
is the time to sell your house.
Friday I lost that battle by having Shasta Trip on, which was freaking off the charts awesome.
Yeah.
But
She's selling her house.
I literally lost that battle this weekend. We went out for dinner on Friday night. Yona just looked at me and went, and didn't have to say anything. I went, okay.
Steve Hargett is watching on your page.
Yeah.
He's a mortgage lender from Member Options. He says, I personally live in Forest Lakes, and I have seen a few homes in Forest Lakes for selling with an asking price or a closing price of well over $100,000 over list price.
Yeah.
This is in Forest Lakes.
It's Forest Lakes, so let's add a little bit to that. Not only in Forest Lakes, but didn't they just approve a really large project that adjoined that?
Yeah.
And did that impact the market like
RST.
Did that impact the market like everybody expected it
It
to?
did not impact the
Did
market.
not impact it.
RST
Okay.
is a developer from Virginia Beach that's building an apartment complex close to Forest Lakes and Hollymead, and the Forest Lakes and Hollymead neighborhood associations kind of galvanized to keep this development from happening. No, it did not impact it. It did not impact it.
Actually, it did. It's just the other way, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, whether RST was going to be built or not, Forest Lakes would have homes trading for these price points.
Got it. But people didn't shy away from buying into Forest Lakes, knowing that this project's about radium. That's the point I'm trying to.
Absolutely.
Neil had a comment. I don't think we got to it.
Neil Williamson, your comment is still watching the program. Neil, we love you. He is the king of content.
So while you're looking for that, on the 15th, we're going to have the Neil and Ned show. So we're excited. We're excited about having those two gentlemen in the seat. And I went and bought a seat belt for my chair. So
Neil Williamson and Ned Galloway of
Yep.
the Board of Supervisors of Albemarle County. Well, this is for Emily specifically. What home improvement would be a bad investment for resale? Shag carpet, avocado appliances, floral wallpaper. He's talking. Is that your personal residence with those characteristics?
no,
Neil
I think
Williamson?
that was a dig at Mr. Smith, who grew up in the 60s and the 70s. That's what that was.
What home improvement would be a bad investment for resale? I know Emily fairly well, and I think she would say the home improvements that are too specific to you personally are going to be bad for resale.
They are. And for a home like that, with that combination of features, it's going to be something that somebody's going to want to come in and put their personal stamp on and probably gut. So I would say leave it all and price accordingly.
Well said. That's good advice right there.
The least ROI, according to NAR, is adding a new primary bed suite.
If you compare that to 2019, it was interesting to see that flip.
That's amazing.
And I think it speaks to the fact that everybody is spending more time in the common areas of their homes and realizing they need more space to spread out. And a primary suite is not going to offer that for the whole family.
So you're 100% right. New primary suite was number 4 in 2019. It's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yona said, I'm holding you to it. We're selling our house.
Yeah, I know that.
We all heard it, Yona.
Yeah, it's on camera. Yona, you guys are listing. The listing is going active this month. This month, the listing is going active. Is that what you said, Keith?
Are you looking for a roommate or something?
Yeah, hey, I got you, man. Hey, my couch is as warm as ever, bro.
Looking for a roommate?
Come on through, man.
Daniel McDougall, bulletproof neighborhoods. This is a great comment from DMAC. He's in the lending business. Bulletproof neighborhoods will always be the last to feel the slowdown.
Sure.
Old Trail's a bulletproof neighborhood. Dunlora, Redfields, Mill Creek, Forest Lakes. However, I'm seeing changes outside these areas where it's definitely pausing a bit at upper price point ranges. That's a guy who processes loans right there.
You should add Glenmore to that list. But it's interesting. We had to throw
As a bulletproof neighborhood?
know how it's changed and how bulletproof neighborhoods change and move and so forth and so on. We had this conversation on Friday about how I was totally wrong on $4 a gallon would impact the other side of the mountain. I mean, I called that about as wrong could be. And it isn't. It's just quite the opposite. It's when we take a look at all the numbers, it's the one region that's actually quarter over quarter growing in the number of sales, not decreasing in the number of sales.
Yona says, I'm packing right now. And Donna Patton says, I've heard this from Keith Smith before. Ha 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 ha. That's what Donna Patton said.
What everybody doesn't know, I had my fingers crossed when I said that.
The toes too.
Why wouldn't you sell? You get top dollar for your house. You
Are we gonna do this live?
Well, okay. I'm just out of curiosity. I know you're married to you have the memories and the love and all the warm and feelings and the fuzzies that go with your house. But what you would get top dollar for your house?
Yeah. Yep.
Legitimately.
Yep.
Top dollar.
Yeah, so to talk about it from a listing perspective, right? So this is a prime example. We have two folks that are living in a home, that own a home, that one has made the emotional decision to move, the other has not. So I have not made the emotional decision to move. I made the decision to move because I was told. No, I'm only kidding. Look, it's like with your rental, for me, it's personal, right? We had dinner with my parents last night. They live 3 miles away. You know, I want to stay close to them, and they're in their 80s. So, you know, to me, that's important. And frankly, you know, but yeah, how about them Mets? So
She said something. Sasha Farmer did on Friday that really rang true with me.
She's right.
And she said on Friday's show that who would not sell
yeah,
if you're getting an extra $100,000 in this market,
Yeah.
an extra 100K, no matter what the hardship is. You have to put your stuff in storage for a month or two. You're getting an extra 100,000. You have to go take a 2-week vacation. You're getting an extra $100,000. You have to go live she's living with her mother-in-law for an extended period of time. I'm getting an extra $100,000. You have to stay in a hotel for a little bit. I'm getting an extra $100,000, right? You have to find a short-term rental at $4K a clip a month because it's short-term. 4K times 3 months,
Plus
4
moving
months,
expenses.
plus moving expenses, that's $25K. Guess what? I'm getting an extra $100,000. I mean, that's how she put it. Remember what she,
yep.
and I was like, okay,
I remember.
she's exactly right.
Well, so I'm going to twist that conversation around a little bit. And yes,
Chad Wood, Keith, for $100,000, you can make more memories.
well, you had me at 2 weeks vacation, so
Take the best 2-week vacation of your life. You're getting an extra $100,000.
I do that regularly anyway. But that's a whole different story. On that end of it, how did this turn around? Beat up on Keith?
Oh, it's not beat up on Keith. It's
No,
not beat up
actually,
on
I think this is a.
See, even the fire department is in my defense.
Say help.
I think this is a very good snapshot, though, of the questions
Yeah.
people are wrestling with
That's
as
what I was
they're
about ready to
trying
go
Seriously.
to decide whether to list.
So that's I was going to ask you. So you're my listing agent, right? Tell me, I don't want to move. Tell me why I should move, other than the $100,000. I got the $100,000 on that end of it. So I'm afraid to move. What? Help me navigate that conversation.
Why are you afraid to move?
Oh boy. I just told you I'm afraid to move because, to be open and honest to everybody, I don't want to be too far away from my parents at their time of need. I really don't want to do that. I want to be able to be there to help my parents out. So that's the thing. So-
Bring them with you.
Okay, so now that's a great question. So, Mr. Buyer's agent, I need to find something that I have an apartment in it for my parents, right? I need to find something that has a master bedroom on the first floor because guess what? I'm old,
Yeah.
right? On that end of it, and I may or may not need some room for my stuff. This may or may not be an issue. I'm just saying.
Like,
Stuff.
and then my questions are, what's the price point? And then, how
right.
far do you want to
Yeah,
be?
so that's a great question. So,
Yeah.
so what I want to do is I want to sell my house. I want to make $100,000, right? I have a certain amount of money left on my house on a mortgage payment, and let's say I don't want to exceed that mortgage payment. I don't want to tell everybody what the number is.
Yeah, but you
but
just
but
want
I'm ready to put $100,000 down. I want to be somewhere in the $2,500 to $3,000 a month payment because that's what I want. Where the hell am I going to go? Oh, no, by the way, I want to walk to breweries. Oh, by the way,
That's unrealistic. That is unrealistic.
Here it is. I got
Yeah,
no. Wait, maybe I don't know. Crozet? Are they doing that downtown Crozet area?
they are.
So that's something to
They are.
consider in the future. I think you would be able to potentially find something like that in that area. I mean, I don't know how far y'all want to be.
So clearly I lack motivation on this end of it. But you're 100% right. You know, thanks to Friday's show, and I'm joking around, right? I was joking around, but seriously, we upped our timetable from doing it. We really have.
Yeah.
We really have upped our timetable.
Kevin Yancey says, come move to Waynesboro. You can get all that right now, and you can walk with a boatload of money. Kevin Higgins gives you props. Help my parents. That's success. Keith has life figured out, from Kevin Higgins.
Thank you, Kevin.
Chad Wood, I'm in the same boat as Keith. Mom is close by. Also, you have to have somewhere to go within reason. Kevin Yancey may have figured out that place to go within reason. Waynesboro.
Yeah.
You can get 2x the house, 2x the
Yeah.
land, and a boatload of stuff for your house, and you're going to walk with a bag of money. Now you're going to have to go to Waynesboro.
Have a commute.
So
That's-
yeah,
the commute.
I'm 15 minutes downtown here. It takes me 15, 20 minutes to get down here. I've got a golf course.
Yeah.
I swim, right? I have some awesome people that live next to me. Just saying that we can hang out and have
No,
fun.
man.
Just saying. On that end of it. So if I'm going to do this, I'm not driving. And I love Waynesboro, by the way. I love Stanton. I've just signed up for a 100-mile bike ride out there in June. Sorry, honey. In June. She didn't know about that yet. Now she does. That which may or may not have came with the new bike. Just saying. Yeah. So
How about the
let's
Mets?
sign up for marriage counseling.
We have golf courses and swimming pools and acreages out here. This is what he says.
No, he's 100%.
Got it.
He's 100% right. And look. Not that everything is business, but that's a good business move out there, right? They're the one. That's the area that's got the positive growth, has the inventory growth. Having a YRP office out there may not be a bad idea. So my wheels are turning. Thank you, Kevin, for that.
Emily, you have something on your mind over there. Give us some perspective.
I know what it is. Smith, just do it and shut up.
No, it really is a hard decision. You guys have been in your house that you built,
Yeah.
raised your kids.
Sure.
I mean, it's not always a black and white decision, even if it feels like it should be.
Sure.
And so if you need a little extra time to get comfortable with that decision, sorry, Yona, I don't think that that's a bad thing, because if you are not completely invested in this decision, when it comes time to negotiate contracts, when it comes time to negotiate if there's a home inspection, you're going to feel more reticent, and it's going to be the wheels are just going to grind a little more to get to the finish line.
In all sincerity, I know this business like the back of my hand. I know where we're at. I know what we can do. I know where everything's at. It is really, from my personal perspective, a driver of my parents, right? I'm the oldest son. It's my job to take our job, Yona and I's job, to take care of my parents. And, to Kevin's point, though, there's a lot of opportunity over there to get exactly what I'm talking about, right next to Augusta Health,
Yeah.
right? So.
Well, and it'll be interesting to watch trends, especially with multi-generational situations, because as housing is getting more and more expensive.
16% of all the sales last year were multi-generational.
Well, and as housing gets more expensive, combining financial pools might make sense, because it
Oh, they don't want
checks.
that. They want me to pay for everything. It's called payback, I believe.
And
is
maybe
what-
not in your situation specifically, but it helps to check several boxes at once, because you're right there to care for
Literally,
people.
we picked up, shout out to Mona Lisa. On Saturday, Yona picked up some awesome ravioli. I made a sauce, and we had mom and dad over for dinner. So we try every Sunday to have dinner with my parents or my family on that end of it. And we were having that conversation, right? Do we go ahead and renovate call-in ISC, renovate our basement, put an apartment in there, or go to Kevin Higgins' side of the world, mountain, and do that? But
Kevin Yancey.
Kevin Yancey.
Kevin
apologize.
Yancey, he says he's got a home in the country club area of Waynesboro that he'll sell to you right now. And Sharon Cavendor is watching on the show and says, I still need an agent to help me find, a seasoned realtor to help me find 11 acres in Albemarle County for me. Sharon Cavendor wrote that in the comment section right there. All right, guys, so as we wind down today's show, what do you guys say the rest of this year is going to look like, Emily and Jason?
All right, I can start. I do foresee interest rates going up. Optimistically, I would like to say that it's going to be similar to what Q said, an anemic rise in the inventory. And I think that both of those factors will make it, at least from where I sit, a lot less hectic. But I think there will be a lot more happy clients come the end of the year.
Less.
Transition.
Less.
A lot less happy clients? I
No,
think
there'll be
more.
less clients, but more
Oh,
happy.
less clients, but more happy clients. That's what I mean. Yeah. So ultimately, client satisfaction will be the story at the end of the year. As for everything else,
I'm not buying the less clients,
out.
the less buyers thing, but you guys are the pros.
You don't think
so?
you don't think 6% will weed
That's not
that
gonna scare
down?
anybody?
Where are these additional students in the fall going to live? They're going to take up more housing.
Where is the largest buyer profile going to live?
Where is the what is the true impact of the School of Data Science? I mean, we are going to get flooded, and you got to realize that this 6% interest rate impact is going to trickle down. The ones that are going to be the vulnerable spaces are the ones, say, like Northern Virginia, D.C., and they're going to trickle down to this area, especially with the best 4 years of their life, University of Virginia, when they were in college, and the ability for them to work remotely. And not I mention the folks across the street from us all the time. They are working in a basement, keeping their DC office, their DC jobs, and living in Albemarle County. There's going to be more of that.
So that 250, 200, 275, south of 300 buyer, when it starts going up, it's just going to they're going to be gone, right? They're not going to be able to compete because they don't, unless they have the cash that Jason's
That buyer's gone already.
Correct.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah. That buyer, the first-time home buyer, the millennial and younger, the Gen Zer, is out.
Well, they are and they aren't, right? So if they have the cash that Jason's talking about, then they're not.
Do you know a ton of Gen Zers under 30?
I know enough.
That have a cash to buy a house in cash?
I would say this much. If you're a first-time home buyer, Gen Zer, you better play chess and not checkers. Don't just get a home because you think it's going to be good. You're probably going to end up with something that, in a couple years when the market is looking like this, or however many years, when you get your shot to be that person that's getting that $100,000 of cash, know that that's the investment you're making today. So that's kind of the conversation I have. Hey, your first home isn't going to be your dream home. Your first home is probably going to be the best investment you'll make in your life because that's going to open a lot of doors that you probably didn't consider were going to be open. You have equity. You have a net worth now. It's a different conversation. You own something. And ownership is key. Think about it. Our country was built on ownership. So own something. And whatever that is, that you will get to where you want to go. Just have something to call your own. So that's the conversation that I'm having with Gen Zers. And it galvanizes the truth. They're like, you know what? Let's go out here. I want to get my acreage. I want to have things that are mine because I know that that's going to help me get to the next level.
It may not be perfect.
Oh no, it's not going to be perfect. You know, you may end up in a condominium, or you may have an attached home, or it may not be that cookie cutter idea that you had for when you were walking into your first home. But what you will have is something that is yours, and when it's time to walk out of that home, it's going to be well worth that. Maybe I didn't want to be here. It's not about what you want. It's what you need to get to where you want. Take care of your needs, and your wants will come.
I just got chills.
That was beautiful. Well
I
said,
just got
JT.
chills, man.
Thank you.
You got to follow that, Emily Funk.
Good luck.
She's
Can't
going to do it well.
Sorry. No, Jason's absolutely right, and it's becoming more of a long game than it used to be. Talking about the 7 days on market feeling like a lot, our expectations have had to change so much so fast, and it's going to be really hard to start dialing that back as the shifts happen. So it is. It's a long game, and patience is the name of the game right now, and not giving up hope, because there are options. It just helps to have someone sort through them with you so that you don't get buried.
Well, we
Well
ran
said.
out of time. I really wanted to tackle coming soon with you two guys, but we're going to have you come back for that conversation, because we had a really dynamic conversation on Friday about it. And I was telling Jerry prior to the show, I had about 24 real estate agents reach out to us and thank us for really tackling that subject. So next time you guys are on, we'll kind of tackle that and see how that goes. And yes, Mrs. Smith, we will sit down and talk about this.
She's happy.
Yeah, I know.
She's
She's right. Look, I'm going to say this in front of everybody. She's right, and I'm wrong, just so that everybody knows.
She says, Jerry Miller, I'm going to keep all the viewers and listeners posted on this positive work in progress, and did the sunshine emoji.
Yeah.
You see it right there.
The
sunshine emoji.
Wow.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
That's-
Jonas
I'm
Smith.
keeping all the viewers and listeners in tune and up to date with this positive work in progress. Sunshine emoji.
So hold the time out. Do you want to know what that work in progress really refers to?
I mean, that's a conversation for a whole nother show.
That's a loaded
36
question.
36
Good
years,
Lord.
36 years of
It's a
dealing with
$195 an hour therapy session right there.
I'll take it.
I don't know how to handle that one.
I'll take it. 195, that's a deal. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely. How about a teaser or a promo of what you got cooking this week?
Yeah, tomorrow's just you and I, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Very
I
nice.
love it when it's, with all due respect, I love the guests, but you know, the two guys having a cocktail talking about whatever is in our minds is a lot of fun. I have a
Wait,
great
cocktails are on Tuesdays?
Y'all need to bring us back on a Tuesday.
I hope he
What is
means
this?
coffee
What is this?
because it's 10:15 in the morning.
I may not have meant coffee.
we can have a cocktail.
And
And then
then-
Friday.
And then, you know, Wednesday, we've got Scott coming on, which is
Right.
at Scott Mortgage Morris, and we're going to talk about all kinds of great stuff there. And then I'm super excited about Friday with Neil Williamson and Ned Galloway. We're going to, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to have fun.
That'll be a lot of fun on that show. This is, guys, Real Talk, and the show was dynamite today. Absolutely dynamite. Presented by Yes Realty Partners. For those that want to learn more about the business and the market, go to yesrealtypartners.com and check out just a trusted team of experts at Yes Realty Partners. For Keith and Jason and Emily and Judah, my name is Jerry, and this is Real Talk with Keith Smith on the I Love Seville Network. We will see you on the I Love Seville show in 57 minutes. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Sorry for my lateness.
You did good. You slipped.